Hey guys, so in today's video we are doing a paint with me, and in this paint with me I actually want to talk about how to start an oil painting. Now in this particular painting I'm working on, I gessoed my panel and I gessoed it 3 times, going different directions each time, and then I sanded it, and then I did a kind of like an underpainting of this burnt sienna color. Now, a lot of people do this in acrylic paint, but for some reason this time I just did oil paint. And as you can see, I did this kind of grid to help me out on this painting because I like to have things in a certain area, and getting all these bulbs in the right area, I just wanted to make sure that everything was set. So I just marked the center of each spot on the canvas and, drew a line. Also drew a line on my reference, which you can see I am holding. I really like to print out my reference because I feel like it's easier to see it in your hand than seeing it on a computer screen. Now, as you can see, I'm just doing like a rough drawing of the flowers here. I'm just using one color, and I'm just going in and trying to perfect these little bulbs and getting everything in the right area. So I do want to chat about my subject matter just for a second. So I believe in anything that you're painting that you should be wanting to paint what you're painting. You shouldn't be painting something you don't want to paint, if you get what I'm trying to say. And so these flowers make sense because I love flowers and flowers make me happy. Now, I also want to mention that if you're going to paint something, make sure, or if you're going to paint something that you're going to want to sell, like I'm doing here, you're going to make sure that the photo that you're using, you either took it or you have permission using it, because you don't want to get in a copyrighted kind of problem, because that is not fun. So just make sure that the reference you're using is your own. But also that you're painting something that you love, because, you just don't want to have to be regretting. You don't want to be going to your easel every day, just not loving it, I just feel like it's very important to make sure that you're painting what you want to paint. So the reference I'm using here is from West Virginia. My best friend loves to send me photos, and so I have her permission to sell the pieces or sell the photos that she takes, or sell the work that I use from the photos that she takes. So, yeah. It's really hard to get inspiration here in Texas because it's hard. So I love using references that she sends me. These Grape Hyacinths are just amazing. I love them. I just love everything about them. Alright, now let's talk about layers. Now we're about to start working on our first layer of the painting. Now this layer isn't the most important, but it is important. We want to make sure that we're getting, and not like, it doesn't have to be very accurate, the color that we're doing, but we want to get it as accurate as possible so that as we're doing more and more layers on top of this, that we aren't butchering ourselves out of, working on your piece. So, anyways, we're just going to start painting here in a second. Or not painting, we're going to be mixing colors. And you're going to see how I do that here. You're going to see a lot in this video because I do mix. I have filmed a little bit of me mixing these colors. Now it is sped up because it will be a really long video if you just sit here in full time watching me mix these colors. But if you are interested in just a video of me mixing colors, let me know in the comments below and I can do a video for y'all if you're interested in how I, talk more through what I'm doing here. But as you can see, I am just mixing purples because obviously in this painting they're purples. Purple hyacinths. Though I do want to mention, I kind of skipped a step here because usually you go through and you do more of an underpainting. You use I like to use burnt sienna and ultramarine and really get in my values before I start doing a painting like this. But I just got really excited and I hadn't painted in a while and I just wanted to go for it. And so I recommend if you if you want to be very accurate with this, you can do an underpainting. Just make sure you get those values right because that is just one of the most important things when painting because you want the viewer to look at your painting and know exactly not like the method, but you want you want a viewer to look at your painting and really experience it than having different colors around and just not looking good. And by values, so oh, did I say that wrong? Gosh darn it, y'all, I've started and finished this so many times. Let's just keep going. Okay. So, I'm starting with the background first. Now, I'm doing a realistic painting. I want the background to be blurry as some of the front pieces are more adamant and you can see them more. So I'm trying to do this blurred effect. And I haven't done much blurred effects, so you can see I'm wiping it away and I'm going to restart again. But I recommend going through doing the background first and then making your way up. And that's just, I think I learned that in college and I kind of just incorporated that into some of these paintings that I've been doing. So now I'm mixing colors again because I had to switch palettes. And remember, when you do your base layers, they don't have to be so accurate. You're going to see in this video that I do mess up a bit, but I fix it. There's a lot that I did that I wish I maybe did less of, if that makes sense. This was just a new challenge. I hadn't painted in a while. I'm using that as my excuse, but I hadn't painted in a while, and so this is just me getting my feet wet. And but the painting is doing well right now. I'm still working on it as I'm doing this video. So it's not going to be a finished piece in the end of this video. Just keep that in mind. This is just how you work through an oil painting. Like, I'm trying to help y'all through this. So I put it in real time so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to make it kind of blurred in a bit because if you look to my right, you can kind of see my reference photo. And so I'm really trying to get my values in. And you can see that as I'm working through this painting. So in this video, you're going to hear me talk a lot about this, but one of the main tips I have for y'all when working in oil painting is that layers matter. Like, but I do tons of layers on my paintings because I want them to look as accurate as possible, but as well as realistic as possible. And so this is why layers are very important. Even if, as you can see here on my reference in the corner, I have a lot of grass and, a lot of stuff. And if I would have done just a whole layer of green like I'm doing for the background here, it probably would have helped me a lot. But I do that later. But doing layers like that works really well too, and I recommend it tremendously. And one of the things about layers is you got to let each layer dry. So that kind of, if you want to get something done quick, that's not going to work. You have to use some kind of medium to help dry up the fat, or dry up the drying time, which I recommend linseed, or actually I think it's called Galkid. I used to use that a bunch. I don't much anymore, but yes. So now that we've covered doing, the background first and talking about doing many layers, and then you gotta let the layers dry and then start back up. I do want to mention that when you start from the bottom up, as in layers, you want to start with your biggest brushes and then working your way up to more detail. That is probably one of the most important tips, is that so that you can cover more ground with a larger brush and get those colors down, so that when you go in more detail with the smaller brushes, you're not dealing with just, it's like a lot of not a lot of nonsense, but it's just a lot of work, and it kind of makes it go faster. And as again, I am mixing colors again. But anyways, that's another tip. You're just going to do many, many layers until you're happy with the result. I also have some little tips as well. It's okay if you mess up and have to paint over something. As I've already told you that I do mess this up and I do have to paint over it. But that is just learning. Each painting that you paint, you learn from that painting. That's why it's always important to keep painting if you want to get better. Also, if you're really struggling with something and you just can't seem to get it right, I recommend Googling it or YouTubing it. I like to paint realistic water. And I actually was struggling a bit when I was working on one of my paintings. And so I just Googled, or I just went on YouTube, and I actually got help. I think it was like Michael Smith or something like that I used. And it just helped. It helped remind me of things I needed to do, and also helped me figure out like what kind of brushes I needed too. So I just looked up how to paint water realistically. And whatever kind of style that you're doing, you're painting in, that's, what you should look up. It's also okay if you feel like you hate your painting while you're working on it. We go through stages while working on paintings. Like, we're so excited for it, and then we get painting and it feels like we're painting for hours and hours, and you just start to hate it. But I recommend just keep going, keep pushing through, because you will get there. I was working on an acrylic painting of strawberries, and I felt like it just needed to be more realistic, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I kept painting and painting and painting, and in the end, that's one of my most favorite paintings. If you check out the link below to my Facebook page, which you can follow me there too, my profile picture is actually those strawberries. Yep, and another tip, I already said this, but if you want to paint realistically with any medium, keep the layers going. Like, the more layers that you put in your painting, help your painting shine through, especially with watercolor. I feel like watercolor is one of the things where people just easily give up, but just the more layers that you do really help. And, all paintings have an ugly stage. And you just gotta push through. It's just one of those things with painting that you just have to keep going. So in this video, I've decided to make different parts because I have so much content on these paintings that this video would be so long, y'all. So I am splitting up the video, and so I hope that's okay. I just have a lot of content for this painting. It'll be hard to put it all in one. So anyways, I think that's all my tips. If you have any questions at all, or if you're curious about anything, you can leave me a comment below because I will get back to you. Just anything I can help you with. You know, I'm more than happy to help. As you can see here, I am working on my values. As you can tell, I've just been putting in color in the grapes, and I needed to get more color out, or more color on the page. And so I'm going in with a deep dark purple in between the cracks of the flowers there, or the bulbs, or whatever they're called. You know, I should look it up. Let me look it up right now. What is the flower of a grape hyacinth called? Grape hyacinth. I know I spell hyacinth. I think it's hyacinth. Hyacinth. Let's see. See, long, linear, floppy green leaves, foliages. Each bulb produces 1 to 4 8-inch high flower stalks with 20 to 40 tightly packed flowers per stalk. Each bell-shaped floret has a thin white band on the rim. Most have a mildly sweet fragrance, various described as slightly grassy or grapey. They are excellent as cut flowers and can be used for indoor forcing. The flowers open from the bottom up, somewhere I don't know, with the lowest flowers withering as the top ones open. Now that makes sense because in some of these paintings, I've done another grape hyacinth painting, and the bottom bulbs, they were wilting, so that makes sense. So, yeah, so they're just called, well, they're bulbs. Floret, I guess they're called a floret. I'm on the, it's like Hort Extension, WIC edu website, by the way. Looking at this. Let's see. Grow grape hyacinths in well-drained soil and sun to shade. Place in full sun for maximum vigor. Plant bulbs in the fall, placing bulbs 3 to 4 inches deep and 2 inches apart. The plants benefit from bone meal applied at planting and after blooming. Reduce water after foliage begins to die back. Interesting. Y'all, I love flowers. So this was fun. That was fun. Oh, University of Wisconsin in Madison. That's the website I'm on. Let's get back to this painting. Well, it seems like we're done for today. As mentioned, if you have any questions, just let me know down below. You can also check out my Instagram. I've been doing daily updates on this painting that I'm working on. So if you want to see what it's looking like now, you can check out my Instagram below. And yeah, I also post every day about certain things I'm working on. Yeah. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.